Hi, it's me again with CorelDraw tips and tricks. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make something like this using this. So we'll get started. Let me move this one out of the way. Whoop, they're not grouped together. Let's group them. Don't even have to group them together, just grab them all. So this is done with a 6-sided polygon, which I'm a big fan of and make a lot of videos about it. The best way to do it is to get an accurate measurement. So let's get the parallel dimension tool and measure from that node. Make sure you're the node to that node. And I'm going to make sure I came off at an angle. We are at 851, but to get a better measurement, we're going to get right here or click on the line, and we're going to add another decimal point. So it's 85136. So we're going to make an ellipse. 8.5136. I think that's what it was. I need to make my 8.5136. And a couple of ways you can do it. Maybe the easiest way is take P and put it in the center of the page, because we're only going to need a half of a circle. I'm holding down the control button. I'm going to hit P, and I am going to take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in. That way I get a sealed item. I'm going to get rid of this. So I've got half of a circle. I am going to left click, right click. And there's really none at a right angle, so I'm going to take this and rotate it 30 degrees. And that way I have at least one to start with. I'm going to put it right there on that node. And then I'm going to kind of visually inspect it, and we're good. Now, I always work in the center of the page. I'm going to make sure my polygon's in the center of the page, which it wasn't. And it makes a big difference. So then grab your polygon and grab that node right there and have it snap to there. I'm going to bring in some indexing lines and put them in the center of the page. I'm going to Control D and make a duplicate. And I could do it individually all the way around, and you get the shape tool if you don't click on that X. And then we're going to rotate this 60 degrees. 120 degrees. And then Control D, 240 degrees. And now we have that shape. Now I need to make a duplicate of that. Whoop, I don't want to rotate it. And I'm going to put that one right there. Now I can do the same thing. That's one thing I don't like Control D sometimes. So Control D, move the center rotation now to here and rotate it 360 degrees, and then Control D, and you've got that shape. Now let's take the virtual segment delete key and delete that line. Now, if I take away my indexing lines, it won't do that again. It'll continue. And now I'm going to take the Smart Fill tool, and I've got a leak, so I'm off somewhere. So what we can do is when we can visually inspect it. I thought I was looking pretty good. But what I can do, I think it's close enough. Well, I don't see where it could possibly be leaking. But what we can do now is take this and select it all, grab our shape tool, and select them all. It might be right there. Go up to Windows, Dockers, and Join Curves. Got mine set pretty low and hit join. Now let's try the Smart Fill tool, and voila, it worked. So now we got our complete object, left click, right click, and we're going to go to Effects and Contour. I'm going to contour this time. I'm going to make it a little bit different. I'm going to go 4 times at 3/4 of an inch. And look, I get that design. We can get rid of this now. And at this time, I can fill it in with the Smart Fill tool. And I'm going to go blue blue, and maybe go, let's go yellow, 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 and we could either make that whole thing yellow or actually cut out that little part. Let's make it a little different. Let's make that inside little bitty part green just to see what it's going to look like. Now, at this time, you could make all the colors. Well, let's just do that. Let's make it red there and there, there and there. It'll look totally different. Now, it's still a contour, so I'm going to go up to Effect and break the 13 objects apart, but then I'm going to take it and go Object and group it together. Now, I'm going to hit Control D on the keyboard, and I am going to put this top node, this top node right there. And then if you did it right the first time, and I'm kind of disappointed I've got that in the way. And you see I put color on the other one. I just put color on the back. Let me just nudge those out of the way. We should still be able to Control D and move it down. Well, I got off somehow on that second one or the next one. So we'll just do it a normal way. Probably the easiest way is to group them, Control G, Control D to duplicate. Make sure you grab that node with the four-sided cross, and then you can make more. Now I'm going to Control G to group these and Control D to duplicate it. This one's a little bit easier because you're going to grab this sharp node and put it in that sharp hole. Whoop, I didn't do a very good job. And if you don't do it on your first try, then Control D doesn't normally work. So instead of making a duplicate of that, just those one line, I'm going to group both lines together, Control G, Control D, and I'm going to try to do it on my first try this time. And then that way, the Control D will work. Well, it didn't work. Now it should work. And look how many I made that quickly. Now, if I had not, I'm going to Control G to fill that in, or Control G to group it. If I had not filled in some of those places, I could make a pattern of that yellow or that, or the red with a color behind it. Anyway, kind of a fun project. I'm not saying you'll ever make anything like that, but it is a pretty cool pattern. Hope that helped. Thank you for watching.